So we see here that the oral Torah has been around for a very, very long time. The Levi tribe dedicated their lives to it, while the Egyptians fooled the rest of the nation. And before you know it, these friends, these allies, these neighbors quickly became our enemies. And unfortunately, this is something that has repeated itself throughout history, most recently in Germany, where we had many Jews live in Europe. Many Jews loved living in Germany, so much so that they started calling Berlin, the capital of Germany, their Jerusalem. Of course, the assimilation in Germany was at the highest level, in comparison to the rest of the world. There was over 90% assimilation. Jews were converting to Catholicism, Christianity. Jews were marrying Gentiles. And one of the worst things that a person can possibly experience is when they see that German wife, that German husband, turns him into the Nazis, the SS soldiers, when the Holocaust officially began. And while they're standing online to go into the concentration camps, his German wife is holding their baby. And of course, this was not just one or two or three times the story, but this was many Jews suffered through this agony of realizing that their spouse that claimed to love them in reality just turned them into the Nazi haters. That the ally became the enemy in the worst possible way. Now, this is something that has repeated itself throughout history, and of course, there's a lot to learn from it. But there's so many other precious diamonds in this parasha. I'm going to go a little faster and try to go into other details, things that we haven't covered before. One of the famous things that we learned from this parasha is through the story of Shifra and Puah, the two midwives, which was really Yocheved and Miriam, the mother of Moshe and the daughter of Yocheved, the sister of Moshe. That they were the midwives. They would deliver the babies, which Paro told them, you work for me, you have to follow my commands. If you see that the Jewish wives are having boys, kill the baby, but don't tell them. Just tell them the baby got sick. In the beginning, he tried to do this behind the scenes, so there's no revolt. Later on, it becomes, open season, and he kills everybody, including the Egyptian babies. Because he hears from his necromancers, that there's going to be a Jewish baby that is going to take over, is going to destroy you. This is something that you have to fight, but he didn't know which house is going to be, since they also told him this is going to be in Egypt, it's going to be in an Egyptian household. So what did he do? He instituted a law to kill all of the firstborn babies, including the Egyptians. Question is, how did the Egyptians agree to this, which we'll get to in a moment? But one of the things that we see from Shifra and Puah, we hear from Yocheved and Miriam, is that they withstood the test. When he told them to kill the babies, they didn't listen to him, and they came up with a very clever excuse that the Jewish women don't need midwives. They already give birth like animals. Of course, the Egyptians hated the Jews so much that they liked hearing that they're like animals, but at the same time, the plan to kill the Jewish babies wasn't working for them. Hashem protected Miriam and her mom Yocheved, and in fact rewarded them even in this world. And this is actually one of the things that Rav Ovadia alav shalom taught us, that actually, and by the way, this shiur is also going for the Ilui Nishmat of Arav Ba'adani, who just passed away today, one of the Gdolei Ador. May Hashem elevate his neshama to the highest possible levels, and Bezrat Hashem, may we merit to get to even an inkling of the Torah and Chesed and all the good that he did in this world. Unfortunately, we are in a generation of orphans where one Gadol after another is leaving this world, which is actually one of the prophecies that the Gemara in Masechet Sanhedrin, as well as Masechet Sotah, and many other places says that before Mashiach comes, that there's going to be the Gedolei Ador, the biggest sages in the world, will become less and less, meaning they're going to pass away, and there's not going to be many to replace them. It's going to be a generation of orphans, and that's actually what we've been seeing in recent years. One giant sage after another passing away, with pretty much nobody following in their footsteps, nobody big enough to fill in their shoes. Whether it was Rav Ovadia, Rav Shalom Cohen, Rav Kanievsky, Rav Steinemann, now we have Rav Ba'adani. Unfortunately, we are a very, very horrific situation where a person has to realize that the only way that they could survive spiritually and otherwise is by delving into the Torah to the highest power, not simply depend on being spoon-fed like many people do.